Hi there, it's Kira at Unfurl, and today's video is why do I sometimes not know what to do with my life? Now, that's not a question that I really wrestle with now, but in the past I have, and I work with clients regularly who experience exactly this. They have absolutely no idea what to do with their lives, and they feel like they're floundering, they're lost, they're treading water. They have absolutely no sense of direction and purpose, and they feel very frustrated. And certainly myself, when I lived in that place of not knowing what to do with my life, it really got me down because I felt like life was passing me by. I felt like I was full of potential, but I just didn't know what to do with it. So there's a couple of reasons why this happens, and I think the first and most important reason is that if we've experienced trauma as a child, if we've grown up in a dysfunctional home where there was emotional neglect. So basically our parents or our primary caregivers weren't emotionally available to us. They didn't see us, they didn't meet our needs, they didn't respond appropriately to us. So we were invisible perhaps, or perhaps we had to make ourselves invisible in order to stay out of trouble. So there's lots of reasons why caregivers mightn't have been emotionally available. And as always, I like to say, it's nobody's fault. Nobody does this on purpose, but this is what happened. So we just have to work with what is. And what this leaves us with is we pack our needs away. We pack our emotions away. We're a child who feels like my feelings aren't welcome here. My needs aren't important. So I might as well just pack them away. Because if I ask for something, I may end up really disappointed. And so we've learned this amazing skill of blocking all that stuff out. So much so that we barely feel anything. We live up in our heads and we're thinking about things, we're analysing things, and we understand why people behave the way they do, and we're very compassionate and we make excuses for that behaviour. We have absolutely no idea how that behaviour is impacting us because our feelings, our responses to certain types of behaviour are totally blanked out. So how does this then leave us in a place where we don't know what to do with our lives? Essentially what we've done is muted our true self, our feeling self who feels in response to life. Sometimes we get a yes in response to exciting and lovely things, or if something awful happens, we'll get maybe a real sense of no, or a rush of heat that's maybe anger that goes, no, this is not okay. So this is the information within that tells us whether something is for us or not for us, is right for us or is definitely not okay. If we have spent years muting it down, quietening it down, we have no point of reference within ourselves for what would work or what wouldn't work. What would be a fun path to take or what would be a very boring path to take. It's almost like we're neutral to life. We're neutral to all the options that are being offered to us. When I was a child, and every year the birthday cake would come, my birthday cake would come out and I'd have to make a wish. And every single year, I didn't know what to wish for. I didn't know what to ask for. I had no inner guide to prompt me. So every year my wish was pretty much the same. I wished to be happy. Which when I look back on it now seems quite sad really, because in effect what I was saying was I'm unhappy or I'm sad. But I didn't really even register that. I just knew I don't really know what else to ask for, so I'm just going to ask to be happy. So we have nowhere to check in with ourselves, and as a result of that, then we'll often find ourselves having to ask other people what they think about something or what they think we should do. Or do you think this person, this partner is nice, is decent, should I go for it? So somehow we have to kind of outsource our guides to our friends and family, and we're asking other people because we don't know what we feel about something. We don't know if we really want to move forward with something or not. So it's like having an invisible man. That TV show, do you remember The Invisible Man years ago, where you wouldn't see the person moving, but maybe just their watch would move across the room? Maybe I'm just showing my age now. I think I was back in the 70s. But it's a bit like that. It's a bit like we're a ghost of ourselves. Does that make sense? You could nearly put your hand right through because there's no solid person. Because in order for us to have a solid person, our parents would have had to see us and go, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so clever. Oh, you're so fun. Oh, you're so loving. Oh, you're so kind. Oh, you're feeling a bit angry now. Oh, you're a bit sad right now. So they would have told us, they would have noticed us in a way that gave us a point of reference for what was happening inside. And as a result of that, when we were feeling those feelings, boom, yep, okay, there's a match. And it creates this sense of self within us. So now here we are in our, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, drifting around in life. And I think maybe by our 40s, we can't live in that place that, we up until then we're sort of like, oh, it'll all work out fine. It'll work out fine. And then eventually we kind of get to the point of going, oh, well, I still don't know what to do, and time is ticking on here. How do I start? So how I tackled this within myself was I stopped worrying about what I didn't know. I stopped stressing and fretting about not knowing what I wanted to do in my life, and instead I focused on what I did know. Small little things that I did know that I wanted. And there was a few things at the point at which I made this kind of decision. There was only a couple of things that I had on my list that I knew I wanted for my life at some point. One was, I knew at some point I'd like to have children. Well, at that point, I didn't have a partner. I wasn't in a position to do anything about it. So I said, right, I'll have to put that one on hold. The other thing I knew I wanted to do was I wanted to have a herb garden. I'd always fancied the idea, but I'd never got around to doing it. So I thought, right, I can do that. So I set about, called in a friend who actually knew a little bit about herbs and plants and all the rest, and we spent a day creating a little rockery, and we went to the garden centre, and my friend said, well, what do you want to have in your herb garden? I was like, oh, I don't know, one of everything. So that was really fun. And then we did a lot of digging and positioning and all the rest, and lo and behold, there it was. It was so satisfying to have a herb garden. The other thing that was on my list was I wanted to travel in South America. And I've been putting that off for years, and suddenly I found myself between jobs, had a bit of money that I'd come upon, let's just say. I hadn't stolen it, obviously it was my money, but I was like, okay, well, I've got this money, and I'm between jobs at the moment, and I'm between relationships at the moment, so let's go. And off I went to South America and did a bit of traveling around South America. So the point that I'm making here, you don't have to go to South America. You don't have to grow a herb garden. You don't have to do any of those things. You just have to pick the little things that you know you want. And it may sound really simple, but what this actually does is it begins the process of looking inwards, connecting inwards to the small, quiet hopes and wishes we have, for the small wants that we have for something that might bring us joy or bring us pleasure. And this, my friend, is the beginning of connecting with ourselves and tuning inwards and beginning to listen to those small little prompts inside that can actually start laying the step-by-steps that eventually are going to lead us in the direction of some sense of what it is that we want to do with our lives. And my step-by-step process led me in the direction of doing an art therapy course. It was just going to be for a weekend, and then I stayed on a little bit longer, and it became a diploma course, and then it became a degree, and then it became a master's degree, and then I set out into the world to be a therapist, a psychotherapist, and an art therapist. And it is extraordinarily satisfying. And I know that that process began ages ago when I started to listen to the small things that I knew I did want to do. So if you're a bit lost, you don't know what to do with your life, forget about that for now. Just take the pressure off and start tuning into the little things that you know. Yeah, it's simple. I know I can do that. I think that'll bring me pleasure. And who knows? Who knows where those steps will take you? All right, that's it for now. Lots of love. Oh yes, and if you're enjoying my videos, please like and subscribe. All right, talk to you soon. Bye for now.